I had one batch, so I had completed the batch today. I'm free in the morning or at this time particularly. Is that fine with you all? From tomorrow, maybe 6:30 to 8. Hello? Yeah, Shrikant, Vimal, Dinesh. Is it fine from tomorrow, 1.5 hour session?
Yeah, it's fine with me, Jigar.
Okay. Okay, Dinesh. Vimal and Shrikant.
Only thing is, it's up. Fine with me, Jigar. Just in case of 6:30, is it possible to start at 7 o'clock?
7. You say 7 to 8:30?
Yeah.
I'll just check out. Okay, I'll just check the other batches and I'll let you know. Okay. Maybe 6:30 or maybe 7. I'll try my best to make it 7 to 8:30. Okay. So other people are also fine with the 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine. So Shrikant, any more doubts regarding the usage of function keys?
Yeah, I was actually going to that on the website that you showed yesterday, where the API reference and everything is given. Can you open that?
Yeah, sure.
That in the jQuery section, I saw something related to this function keys. I wanted to talk to you about what it is.
Okay, definitely. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Oh, API reference.
Yes, yeah, inside the API reference.
Okay, jQuery, SAP.
Okay, inside SAP.
Oh.
Sorry?
Key codes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
here if you scroll down, you'll see all the function key codes.
Yeah, exactly. I have told you, right? Like we can make use of the jQuery, and even these are all events which you can make use of. But when we try to create a mobile application, which generally is the market trend now, and desktop applications are quite getting older, so we will not be using this. But yes, you can make use of them when you're creating a desktop application. You can definitely have these keyboards, as I said, it's possible.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to my Eclipse. So this is how the initial page looks, correct? Once you start. So right now I don't have any project here. Okay. This is my Project Explorer window. You just click on this to expand it. Okay. Correct. And if you see here, just minimize the other thing, the outline. The outline and all will have a look into that, like what is the usage of them actually. The outline and the other pages will come and all. Okay, each and every tab has actually its own usage. So this is my Project Explorer, and any project which I'm going to create will be available here. The project and the files related to that. Okay. Then so we'll go ahead and create a simple new project. Okay, we'll see what are the steps to create a project, to create a view, and the one which we were discussing about different kinds of views, the controller and the methods, lifecycle methods which are already available inside my controller. Okay, we will look into them. Today we'll have a simple, very basic session on the project structure, how it is created, how the views are created, how there are different views, how the controller, the lifecycle methods, and then the automatic, the already auto-generated code by SAP Wi-Fi once you create your project. Okay, there is some auto-generated code available. So see, first thing, file. Okay, click on file, then new. Okay, on the tab of new, you will see an option called as others. Okay, just click on the others. Then you just scroll down in this window. In this new window, you will be able to find a folder called SAP Wi-Fi Application Development. Okay, so just open this application development. Inside here, you can find two options. One is for the view, and the other one is for the application project. So once you Now we don't have a project, so we'll try to create a project. This view will be used when you want to create an extra view. Okay, because definitely my application will have a number of views, so we will create a view. The same thing must be followed. Okay, new, other, then inside the other you have to just click on view. So we'll see how this will be done later, the view creation part. So for now we'll select application project. Okay, then we'll see next. So I have to give some name to this. Let me just do this as some sample start. Okay, so here it shows you workspace where my project, this particular project with the name example start will be stored. Okay, and the libraries which I have already discussed earlier with you, sap.ui.commons, which says it will be a desktop application, and sap.yum, which says it will be my mobile application. Now, depending on this, the code will be generated. The auto-generated code entirely depends on this, whether you are creating a desktop application, whether you are creating a mobile application. Okay. Now, we will be concentrating more on a mobile application. The reason being that if you create a desktop application, you definitely cannot use the desktop application on the mobile device. Correct? But if you use or create the mobile application, then definitely you can use this mobile application on your desktop. You can deploy the same application on your server and use the link to access the application through the server. You can deploy this application in a container called as PhoneGap or Cordova, which we will be discussing at the end of the session, at the end of the course, SAP UFI course, because that is the last step. Once we create an application, what we will try to do is we will try to generate an executable file. That is, for Android it is a .apk file, and for iOS it is a .ipa file. We will try to generate our executable file, and we'll try to put that particular executable file inside a mobile device and try to run the application. Okay, and we will also see how to deploy our application on a server. We will be using a gateway server here. On the gateway server, we will try to deploy our application which we want to create and try to use the link or the URL of the server to access the application. Okay, so once we start, we will be getting what the difference between the deploying on the mobile, deploying on the server, or just local development. We will see what are all these steps. And there is one more thing called as a checkbox which says create an initial view. By checking this, what it does is it will create an initial view on by its own. Okay, if you just don't check this, then it will just create a project. It will not create an initial view. So let's say that we'll just create an initial view. Okay, we'll have an initial view first. Okay, so right now the things which you have to enter is just the project name. Then just check your location, workspace where it is being stored. Is it correct or not? Okay, then select library, whether it's a desktop or a mobile application. Then this is an optional part. You have to decide whether you want to create an initial view or you just don't want any view, you just want to create a sample project. Okay, so let me just select this. I'll say next. When I say next, it will ask me for the view. Since I've checked that box saying that I want to create an initial view, so it is asking me for the name of my view. So what will be the name of my view and what kind of view do you want? Do you want it to be a JSON, JavaScript, XML, JSON, HTML? We will, for now, we'll go ahead with my JavaScript because this is the traditional way, and this being the more familiar way for us. We'll try to use this, and once we go ahead with the classes, I will be making use of the other views also, so that you'll be able to select how different they look compared to my JavaScript, and why JavaScript. You will also come to the conclusion by saying why JavaScript is best compared to the other kind of views. Okay, the way we structure our code inside JavaScript is quite better, much better actually to say, compared to the other XML, JSON or the HTML views. Okay, so I'll just use some examples. I just tried my first. So my project name, and this is my folder. Okay, inside this web content folder, this particular, this entire thing is being already auto generated by my Eclipse. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just say next and finally finish. Now it is creating. Okay, it is generating all the code which must be generated. It is also creating the controller. As you can see here, there is view and the controller has been created all by its own. Just a moment, it is just loading the screen. Okay. Okay, then just minimize the distance so that we have enough space here. Fine. So once I created an application, since I have chose to create my initial view also, hence it has created my view. And as I said that SAP UI5 in my, especially in my Eclipse IDE, if once you're creating a view, it automatically generates your controller also with that. Right? So you can see the controller here. Controller will have the same name as the view, that is first, and it will have the suffix added to it. Okay, and this will be added to it by the SAP UI5 library itself. We don't do anything here. We just try to write our name in the dialog box in the window which was provided to us while creating a view. So it just adds, since it's a view, it adds view.js after the name of my view. And for the controller, it will add controller.js saying that this is the controller, and it will use the same name as the view. Okay. So we'll come back to the view and the controller later. First, we'll go to the index page, and when saying this is the index page, I wanted to tell you that this is the main page, or the first page, or you can call this as the launch page, which will be loaded as soon as you run your application. When you try to run your application, this is the point from where you have to run this, because the entire n number of views or n number of controllers which you later on create, which you should go on to create when you create an application, anything, any controller, finally they will be loaded inside your index page. Any doubts still here? Okay, so we'll go ahead. So what does this say? Now I want you people to relate this particular example with the one which we had done in the previous class. Okay, I said that there was a reason for doing that example, and the first reason for using the HTML couple of lines was that this you must be familiar now with the saying that exclamation doctor HTML says that it is an HTML5 which we are using and not the HTML 4.1. Okay, and the start and the end point of my HTML page are denoted or indicated with the help of HTML tags, open tag and the close tag, correct? And then as I said, the HTML page contains two parts, or the page is divided into two parts. One is the head page and the body. Okay, the body is the one which contains the UI part, that is my user interface part, or the visual part which the user will be seeing, which the user interacts with. So all my controls, my views, my controllers, the functionality, n number of controls, all these will be finally will be shown on my body. That is the HTML body. This is where the entire controls and the entire views will be shown. Okay, we'll come back to this later. First, we'll go to the head. What does the head section contain? I said earlier that head section is the one part where we try to load all the libraries, such as the external libraries or the meta tags. Correct? And along with that, not just the external libraries or the meta tags, you can also try to load the CSS file if you are using some, which are some external CSS files. Okay, and further when we go to the other examples, so there will be seeing creation of the data when we are just typing the static data. So this is once you try to load this page. Okay. So once we try to load this page, this is the first section which will be executed, because all these required libraries will be loaded, and the section which will be shown first will be my body. The entire content of the body will be shown. Okay. So coming to each and every tag, okay, each and every tag present inside my head, we'll just look into one by one. So first tag, that is meta tag, says that HTTP equivalent XUI compatible content IEH. It means that I think I have discussed with you this earlier, saying that this SAP UI5 HTML SAP UI5 is based on the HTML5 JavaScript and CSS. Now saying that my browser which support this particular application, that is once you create an application with the help of all these HTML5 content, the browsers which support these, each and every browser has some certain drawbacks. Okay, the latest browsers such as IE9 or IE10 will support almost 90 to 95% of the functionalities provided by the SAP UI5 are provided by the HTML5. Okay. Now coming to your IE8. Okay, if you just go down the IE9, that is IE8. My IE8 will not support to the level the IE9 or IE10 browser support the functionalities of the HTML5 or the SAP UI5. To tell my IE8, that is my Internet Explorer 8 browser or any other browser which is not compatible, to tell them that try their best to try to at least try from the browser side so that they can support as much as possible, to make them understand, to make them compatible as much as possible, to try them support as much as functionalities of the HTML5 as possible. We write this tag. If they are not able to provide the 100% from their side browser, so by writing this tag, this particular tag tells the browser that I am trying to use the HTML5 content and I want you to support as much as possible. Okay, but yes, the latest versions of Internet Explorer, that is IE9 and IE10, will support 90-95% of the functionality, and the latest version for Google Chrome, Mozilla, Safari, okay, you have to use the latest version. Going to your the older versions may not provide you the desired output. By saying desired output, I wanted to tell you that desired output means that if you are trying to use some control, okay, you are just, for example, I'm using some flex box, okay. In IE8, the flex box are in my Android application, in my Android browser, okay. When I'm using this, when I just create an application of this, that is APK, and run on my Android device, the previous browsers, the older version of browsers in my Android application will not support a flex box, and the content inside flex box will not shown to you. It will not shown because my flex box is not supported by that particular browser. Okay, so this entire detail, the browser support, the control support, this entire detail is available. I'll try to share the document, and you can also view this detail from your SAP UI5 SDK. Okay. So the first tag says the browser that try to use all functionality to support as much as possible. In the second tag here, it is a simple encoding tag. It says that it's an HTML document and I wanted to encode it in the form of UTF. UTF-8 is the type of encoding format. Okay, so it says that the content type of the document is HTML. I wanted to encode this in a UTF-8 format. Okay, you can just Google this to find what is the UTF format. This is encoding kind of format. Just encodes this particular page when you try to run this on the browser. That's it. There are some other number of tags also. For example, there is one tag for just imagine in my HTML page, okay, I'm trying to place some value which is 10 to 12 digits long. Okay, now what happens is when you try to run this particular value on your browser, when you try to run this particular application on your browser, once it detects, okay, there's some 10 digits of value, the browser automatically, by itself, it tells this, it detects this as a phone number, and it changes the color. Though you try to put any CSS on it, it changes its color and draws a underline on that, saying the browser actually does this for a phone number which is 10 digits, which has a 10 to 12 digits, to tell the browser that I may be using a number which has 10 to 12 digits, but this is not the phone number I'm trying to use. This happens when once we were trying to create an application, this was an issue. So there, in such kind of condition also, you can put a tag. Okay, these tags are generally related to the browser to tell the browser that I want to do this. So please, you don't put your functionalities there. This means that. So we had a tag, something called as no phone. Okay, here as you see content IE8, there was some content called as no phone. It tells to the browser saying that there may be the numbers, there may be the values which will have 10 to 12 digits. It doesn't mean that they are my phone numbers. So please don't try to change the font or don't try to apply your settings on that particular value. In such case, there are some n number of tags. For now, will be the basically auto-generated code gives us these two tags which we'll basically use. And depending on the usage of the application, depending on the functionality of the application, we may add or we may not require the other tag. Okay. Fine. So now coming to the other part, that is my script tag. Okay. Here, what we are trying to do is script tag. We are trying to load an external library, external JS file. Okay, external in the sense, in my previous example, I had written my click me functionality. I had written my the object, the constructor inside the same file, inside the script tag, right? The other way around was I could have written the entire the content of a script tag inside in some other page and named it as .js file. and I could have imported that file in this fashion. That could have been done. So here the same thing is being done. Okay, there are some functionalities. If you can see this SAP UI core.js. Once we go ahead with our with our examples of SAP UI file, we will come across some of the functionalities that where we will be using this sap.ui.getCode. I had said in the last class, we will try to accessing some IDs. There we'll be using sap.ui.getCode.byId. Some of the functionalities will make use of this, or to navigate from one page to other page, we will be making use of the library called sap.ui.getCode. Such functionalities, the functionality part, some of the functionalities are written inside this particular JS file. Okay, you need not to worry about what has been written inside that. All you have to worry about that is this has been, whether it has been included or not. This contains. Hello. I think yes, Vimal has dropped. Yeah, Vimal has dropped. Is there any issue with Vimal?
I don't see any issue.
He just dropped the call. So how do we contact him then? Shall we wait for him?
Yeah, we'll wait a couple of minutes. Maybe he got disconnected or something.
Okay, we'll just try to wait a couple of minutes. This will be clear. It's very simple. So we are just trying to load some libraries called sap.UI core library, and this particular library sap.UI core library holds some of the basic functionalities which we'll be needing for navigation, for making use of the IDs, so that we can set something, so that we can read some values. For that purpose, we'll be using this. Okay, they have given some ID for that, SAP UI Bootstrap. Then, and this particular source. Okay, in this particular script tag, we are adding a library here. These are the core libraries. Now, since we are not yet joined, can anyone contact him? I mean, if you people are connected, can anyone of you?
No, I don't have his email ID. I just sent a message to the class organizer. Let's see if he responds.
Okay, Srikanth. Since we have since we have selected sap.yum during the creation of our project, we have selected the sap.yum, and it is showing me as sap.yum. Okay, if it has selected sap.ui.commons, then sap.ui.commons would have been here. Then this would have been written as sap.ui.commons if you were using that library. So for now, we are using sap.yum, hence it is trying to download the libraries of sap.yum. Okay, then the theme. Now coming to my theme here, since SAP Fiori applications, okay, are completely built on one particular theme called as SAP Blue Crystal. Okay, now why this theme? Why this particular SAP Blue Crystal theme is that SAP Fiori apps are built on SAP Blue Crystal, and the other point is that when you try to run your application, okay, when you just complete the entire application, then when you create the executables for Android and for your iOS mobile iPhones, then when you try to run the application, this particular SAP Blue Crystal theme tries to maintain a lot of similarities. I mean, it tries to maintain the visualization of the visual part of the application very similar, in both the devices. Though the iPhone has its own rendering, the Android has its own rendering way, but even then, Vimal has joined back. Joining. Hello, Vimal. Hello, Vimal. Can you hear us? Hello. Hello, Vimal.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, my system got hung and I had to restart my system. So.
Okay, that's fine. We had not got too far. I was just discussing that we had to, like, you were there till here, right, for the SAP UI course?
I think we were in the first line. We were explaining that IEH, yeah, that one.
Okay, fine. Actually, the tag, this particular IEH tag is to tell to the browser that you try to, try to support as many functionalities as possible provided by the HTML5. Okay. Then the other tag, which says the cache UTF-8, is that this is the encoding part. Okay. The content of this page are HTML content, and I want this particular page to be encoded in certain format. So the format is the UTF-8 format. You can find a lot of data for this browser for this particular UTF-8 format. Okay. So I was just saying again that there are different tags. For example, there is something called as no phone tag. Inside the content, I write something called as no phone. It means that it tells to my browser that if in my application, in case in my application there is a value which contains 10 to 12 digits, such as my phone number, then it doesn't mean that it is a phone number, because what browser does is browser thinks such value as a phone number, and it tries to change the font value, it tries to change the font style, and it will put an underline a line below the value. So to tell the browser that it is not a phone number, it is a value in application. So I don't want them to change by you. For that, we'll use some meta tag. So the meta tag is generated tells the browser to do this or to not to do this. Okay. This is the purpose of using the meta tag. Depending on the usage or depending on the functionality of the application, we try to use the different meta tags. Okay, that was for the meta tag. Now coming to the script tag, we have a file which we are trying to load called SAP UI core.js file. Right. So in my yesterday's example, I had written the entire script content inside my HTML page itself by just giving the script tag inside my body, correct? Inside my HTML page. I've just given the open and the close tag for script, then I have written the click me function, the object, the constructor. So that entire content of my script tag could have been written in some other page and saved it as .js file, and I could have actually imported the file in this way by writing the source and giving the path of that file. I could have included the file in my header, then I would have been able to use the functionalities present inside that particular file also without any issue. So that particular way is called as external JS, and writing your complete script content inside the same HTML page is called as internal JS. Okay. So what yesterday we had done was an internal JS concept. This is an external JS concept. Here they have a file called as SAP UI core.js. This particular JS file holds your main core libraries or the core functionalities. Okay. Core, coming to telling the core says that in core functionalities means the functionalities which are common between your both desktop and the mobile application, such as navigation. Navigation is common. You're traveling from, you're navigating from one page to the other page. It happens in both the desktop and your mobile application using such functionalities. Or for the binding part, or fetching the ID of certain control. You have a number of controls on your page. You want to set value of one particular control. Then there in HTML we try to use document.getElement by ID, but in my SAP UI file I try to make use of a statement called as sap.ui.getCore.byId. Such kind of functionalities will be present in my core. Once we go ahead with the application, you'll be seeing what are the other functionalities which we'll be using with the SAP UI core library. Okay. They've given just an ID to this as a bootstrap. Then initially we had selected sap.m. Okay, that is saying that we are going to create a mobile device, mobile application. So we had selected sap.m library. So this is loading. So the SAP UI libs. Okay, this is trying to load the sap.m. And now you are in this particular application. By saying this, you can use all the controls. Okay, I'm saying controls, not the functions. All the controls available inside my sap.m library. Okay. If we want to use a control which is not inside your sap.m, maybe it is inside your sap.me. Okay, we'll say that it is inside my ME, that is mobile extended library. I wanted to use that control. Okay, then you just cannot use that control directly inside the application. What you have to do is you have to come and load that library here first. Okay, it means that now this particular thing holds sap.m. Now if you want to use some other library, then just have to put a comma here. Then write sap.me. Now, by writing this, you will be able to use the controls present inside this library. In the same way, if you wanted to use libraries from other controls from other libraries, then you have to first thing is that you have to come and write that particular library name here. Only then you will be able to use them. Or else the the application will throw an error saying that the control is undefined. Because we have not loaded that particular library, then definitely it says that it is undefined. Correct? So we will be just looking into, once we start doing the application, we'll try to see what are the errors which we are gonna get if we do such kind of mistakes. Okay, so that it will be clear. It's better done rather than said. Okay. Then theming. Theming. SAP UI5 provides a 3 to 4 set of theming. There is one more tool called a theme roller. Okay, for creating custom applications. You can just browse them to get the details for the other tool. Okay, used for the theme roller. But we restrict ourselves to this SAP Blue Crystal. The reason being, my SAP Fiori, all SAP Fiori applications are built on this particular theme, SAP_Blue Crystal. Okay, and why is that? Because the SAP Blue Crystal theme tries to maintain or tries to keep your application as similar as possible on your on different devices. Okay, once we create the application and create the the executable file, okay, like APK and IPA, and install them on our different devices such as Apple phone and Android phone, and we try to see them. But generally the same application in two different devices, you can make out there is a lot difference, right? When you try to run some application such as Candy Crush, you just take a game called as Candy Crush, or you can take any other application. You run on your Android mobile, you run on your iOS mobile, you can find the difference, right? The way the button looks, or the way the function, the look wise, the visual wise, iOS is much better than the Android, the way it looks. Correct? So in the same way, by using the Blue Crystal, what we are telling is that we are telling the devices that this is how I want it to look. So with the help of this theme, you can try to keep both the applications as similar as possible in both the devices. That's the reason we try to use the SAP Blue Crystal, so that they appear very similar, though they are being operated in two different devices. Okay. Then coming to my other script tag here. Okay. So now what this is doing is, here sap.ui.local resources. Example start. So this particular thing. Now let me just go inside my content. Okay, we'll be discussing about these. Okay. We'll first finish this part. So it is trying to load the resources present inside my example start folder. Okay. Now what does this my example start folder contains is all my views, all my controllers, okay, will be present inside my example start folder. For example, now I have created only one view initially, and there is first view and first controller, and both these things are available inside my example start. So this line tells that my local resources, okay, I'm not the libraries, okay, the local resources, the views or the controls which I'm trying to create are inside this particular example start folder. So I want this particular folder to be loaded. So this is my local resource. Okay. Then coming to the first control. Okay, when you're creating a mobile application, the first control which we are going to make use of is my sap.m.app. Okay, so we will see what this control is actually. Okay, what is this sap.m.app? Then what the functionality of this particular sap.m.app is. Okay, we'll just try to go to the I'm just sharing my Google screen now. Just go to that particular sap.m.app and try to see what are the functionalities is and why we are trying to use that. Okay, so here sap.m.app actually is the root element of my UI5 mobile application. That is the root element. It says that the other controls or the other pages or the other views, all these the n number of controls which we're going to use in my application, all these will go inside one particular container. Finally, they go inside one particular container or one particular root element, and that is my sap.m.app. And there is one more container also, something called as sap.splitapp, sap.m.splitapp. We will see what that sap.m.splitapp is once we go to the splitapp application, which will be the example which we will be creating, which looks like SAP Fiori. We'll try to make a SAP Fiori lookalike split app. Okay, then we'll be discussing about SAP.m.split app. For now, SAP.m.app is my root element, okay, which has its own nav container. I mean, it inherits some of the functionalities from nav container. Nav container by again is the other control, okay. It takes certain properties or methods from my nav container. You know, in SAP UI5, in the library here, each and every control here which you can see has its own properties and methods and events and aggregations. Along with them, it also has the ability to inherit. So if you just check through this particular API reference, you can see this is the constructor, how it looks. Okay. Then the events borrowed, right? It is being written. The events borrowed from this particular class is, these are the events borrowed from this. These are the events borrowed from this particular manage object. Okay. I wanted to tell you that each and every control present here, each and every control in my SAP.m library, it may be in my commons library, they have their own properties, they have their own methods, and along with that, they also inherit from other controls, so that you can make use of, if something is not available in the control, then you can make use of a method or property which is present in some other control. But initially, you have to check whether that particular property or that particular method has been inherited or not. And those things will be written in this way, like whether it has been inherited or not. Let me just scroll this down. Okay, these are some of the methods which are inherited from nav container, right? You can see them, right? Something called as to index of page get width. We'll see what are the actual properties and methods first of all available in this SAP.m.app control. Okay, you have to just click on this. This entire page has almost all the details which we require. Okay, so we're just clicking on this particular SAP.m.app. Will take to a point in the same page. Okay, it is not changing to the page, in the same page where it has its own properties and events which are being shown. Okay, if you can see here, it has properties for home icon, okay, background color, background image. These are some of the properties. Then the event it has the orientation change. Okay, then it says that all settings, okay, all the settings which are applicable on the SAP.m.nav container can also be used as well. Correct. So then we have to see if the property which you want, if you are able to find any such thing, then you can just go to the nav container and try to check in the nav container what are the available things. Then as per this line, it says that you can use them all. Then you can just definitely just use some of the properties of the nav container inside your application. Correct. So now we'll just go back to our Eclipse. Okay. Once we start writing the codes and the examples, while we discussing, and we will be going through a number of controls. We may be using one particular control. Okay, it may not have a certain property. Then we will check its property, such as example I can give in my SAP.m app itself. Okay, in my SAP.m app is the main container, as I said, and this is the container which holds all my views. Okay, correct. Now if you can see here, it says that I have created an object for this first thing, right? There's something called as object. I have created SAP.m.app with the initial page. We'll be discussing all these properties. Okay, I have created an object with the name called app. Fine. Now what I'm